Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my Apple Podcast. This is Tim. Before I begin with this episode, I want to mention that I'm working on two things right now. For the myapplepodcast.com website, I'm accepting submissions from listeners and viewers who would like to share projects and ideas that they're working on. So if you have a JPEG or a screenshot of something you're working on, or maybe you're want to share something that you created with several photo apps or video apps and so forth, please share them with me. You can send them to me at myapplepodcast.com at gmail. I'm sorry, at myapplepodcast at gmail.com. And I will post them on a community page on my Apple Podcast website, and as well as on the Pinterest page as well. For this episode, I want to focus on an application, a photo application for the iPad, and it's called PS Touch or Photoshop Touch. And I'm sure you've heard of it before. It's gotten a lot of press, and it's one of arguably the best photo editing application out there for the iPad. I expressed a lot of excitement about iPhoto, and I do think iPhoto is a fantastic application. But I have to say, PS Touch is, it's addictive. It's hard to stop using it. And so I thought I would share my enthusiasm with you about this. If you hadn't had a chance to use it yet, I'm going to share with you some of the features. Let me go ahead and pull this application up, and I'll try to cover as much as I can. I don't really have to cover much because there are tons of tutorials that are available once you download the application. So for example, you can see here, if I click on tutorials, you'll see there are a whole host of options to choose from. And when you choose an option, it'll take you through the different steps. So for example, if I wanted to choose, drop shadow text, and you have the option begin tutorial, and then you'll begin to see it'll just guide you through the steps. So it's pointing you where you go to add text. So you add text, and then the bottom left is where you go in and add your text. So maybe I'll just go ahead and just add my Apple Podcast. And I'm going to hit the arrow for the next step. And I'm going to go ahead and change the text. Okay, just did that. I'm going to go ahead and change the color. I'm going to go ahead and just make it white. Go to the next step. Now it prompted me to resize, but I'm kind of fine with the way it is, so I'm going to go to the next step, where it's now pointing me in the direction of adding the drop shadow. So I'm going to go ahead to FX, and I'm going to add a drop shadow. And as you can see, you can actually control how you want the drop shadow to appear, the degree of the blur that you want, as well as how opaque you want it. I kind of like that, so I'm going to click apply, the arrow, tutorial is completed. So that's basically what it does. It takes you through the process, and then when you're done, you close the tutorial, and you go back and watch the other tutorials that are available. And let's go over some of the icons along the top here. Here's where you upload your projects to a cloud-based service that is offered with this app. This is where you can share your projects either to your camera roll, Facebook, by email, or to a printer. And you can add folders and organize your projects by subject matter or title. You can duplicate projects. You can also delete the ones you do not want and or post to Facebook. And then the settings tab is where you control your preferences. I'm going to go ahead and open the photo, and let's look at some of the features that are inside PS Touch. I'm going to explore local photos, and I'm going to go ahead and choose this photo of my wife and I during our trip to Florence. Okay, on the left hand side is the toolbar. When you tap the top of it, you can go back and forth between the tools that you want to use. So you ever get confused and you wonder whatever happened to the brush tool, the eraser tool, just tap on the top and you can return to the main menu. So if I wanted to choose the brush, for example, you can choose your brush size and the opacity of it, and then the mode. Do you want to just paint a color? In this case, you can choose your color from here. And if I wanted to paint, obviously I could just go ahead and just paint the color onto the photo. Of course, I'm going to undo that. Or you can go into special effects mode and then use the effect of your choice, say the pencil tool, and you can paint that effect onto the photo. Pretty awesome. We'll hit the top of the menu again. You can use the selection tool. I love this tool as well. So you can use the selection tool, and you can select the part of the photo that you want to copy, and then go to the pencil tool, hit copy, go to the pencil tool again, and hit paste. And you now have a new layer that you just copied. Now I'm going to cancel that because I want to show you something else. When you're doing this, you also can adjust how you want the fragment that you're copying to appear. Now with Feather, you can actually have it so that the edges are faded. So if you want it to be a very subtle sort of paste, see how the edges are gradually fading and feathering out? So I'm going to go ahead and choose that, and then copy and paste. And so now I have a feathered version of the image I copied. So it blends a little better. Pretty cool, huh? Let's see, let's explore some more options. I'm going to tap on the menu again. Here is the selection tool. Actually, I'm going to go and I'm going to deselect here from the selection tab. Up here is where you go in and you can select and deselect. But I'm going to use the selection tool to select certain areas of the photo. So this is how you can go in and erase certain areas you want. You can tap here to deselect areas as well. You also have a lasso tool, which is again a selection tool. Paintbrush tool, we just looked at that. So if you keep going down the line, you see you also have a stamp tool and an eraser tool, as well as a blur tool. So you have a lot of tools at your disposal, a lot of the tools that you would normally get when you're using Photoshop. Okay, let me show you what you can do with the Move tool. I'm going to go ahead and actually paste in another layer here. So I'm going to go ahead and select an area of the photo. Once again, I'm going to copy, then I'm going to paste. Click done. And as you can see on the right hand side, I added another layer. And now I can select the Move tool to move it around. And here's where you have all your adjustments. So you have black and white, saturation, shadow, highlights, brightness, contrast, replace color, invert, and so forth. And you can play around with these tools once you get the application. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I really love the effects. The application is just fantastic. And likewise too, you can use the effects tool. So in this case, I'm actually going to go back to my first layer, and you can see you have a range of effects actually. One is basic, and you have 9 options here. And under style, you have 6 options. One is glass, which is a pretty cool feature. And again, you can control it by scale and by amount. Pretty cool, although it's kind of scary looking at it this way. Go ahead and reverse that. Also, with effects, you can go into artistic and add a comic effect, or add scratches, pencil. I love the acrylic effect. I'm going to go ahead and show you that one. And then, of course, you can control the size of the brush strokes, the jitter, and so forth. Click apply. Pretty cool. And then you have the and symbol here, where you can crop the photo, adjust the image size, and add text, which was what I did during the tutorial. And it even has a warp feature. So if you wanted to even warp your photo, you could do that. I actually like this feature a lot. I never thought I would want to use a warp feature, but I actually kind of like having this option. And they make it so easy to use too. Pretty cool. And that's PS Touch. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And you can add as many layers as you want. And you can move your layers around. You then tap on the layers icon, and then you can go in and make adjustments as far as the opacity or blend modes. You have a variety of blend modes that you can add to each layer. And or you can just simply delete the layer from here. So this little piece that I pasted on top here, I can go in and choose the different types of blend modes. So if I want to screen, or multiply, or overlay. So you can play around with the different options, or just keep it at normal. But you can also control the opacity. So if you wanted to be more of a transparent effect, you can do that. And again, you can use your move tool and move that around where you want. Pretty awesome. If you haven't tried this application out, I would encourage you to play around with it, because there's just so much you can do. The sky is the limit. If you happen to create any cool photos and you want to share them with me, send them to me at myapplepodcast@gmail.com. I will put them up on the community page on the website and or on the Pinterest page. Again, my name is Tim. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.